How did the concept of retirement begin? Why doesn't a farm have a concept of time? Why don't we need to work at every age? How will the concept of retirement change for the post-millennial generation?
Well, of course, the Industrial Revolution was a shock to everyone, I think, because we moved off the farm, and the farm is, in a sense, if you've ever worked on a farm or been on a farm, you know the farm is timeless. You're up in the summertime, the light comes up, it's the sunrise at maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. So you're awake feeding the animals from 5 till maybe 10 at night. Whereas in the wintertime, the sun doesn't come up till 8 o'clock, and it goes down at 4, and there's snow everywhere, and the animals are not really very happy, and all of those things, right? So a farm has no concept of agedness. It can't, because whether you're 6 or 60, you got to do your work on the farm. So once we moved off the farm into the city, became industrial workers, they needed a way to regulate us. And initially it was quite horrible. I mean, we still worked from 6 to whatever it was, 10 at night or 6 at night, because the capitalists, exploited people. And slowly people woke up and they became unionized, and you got this concept of a working day, even though it was 6 days a week. And then you come to Bismarck. And Bismarck, after the Franco-Prussian War in 1871, he created the German state. And the German state, from what I've read, realized that older workers are not as efficient as younger workers. Maybe they've got aches and pains, and they've got maybe weight and fatigue. So slowly this concept of retirement came about, as I understand it, from Bismarck, from the Germans, right? That you at a certain age become expendable. And then, of course, we get this concept that it's a wonderful time because you've worked all your life, and now you've got this golden age of 20, 30 years that you can do whatever you want. And unfortunately, most people who retire die quite quickly. Why? Because you've lost your essence. We need work, look. It doesn't matter what that is. I mean, that's an intrinsic part of who we are, right? So this concept, I think, comes to, at least my generation, came when I was 16 or 17. You get this concept that 40, you're going to get the disease of age, and slowly it's going to creep, and you're going to retire at 65, and boy, that's old, and the bones are aching, and the weight is on, and you're probably an alcoholic by this point, and but you've got your children and grandchildren, so you're living a wonderful life, and then you die. And the great thing is happening for this generation, for the millennials and the post-millennials, is that there are jobs that are going away, right? Maybe the 7-Eleven worker going away, and the bank teller, bus driver, and one of the other things that's going away is old age. They will not become old in a traditional sense because of modern medicine, health, etc., etc. It won't be there. So there will be no retirement in that classic sense, right? I'm certain that you will change. I've changed my job when I was, 45, or when I came to Taiwan. My job changed. I was a salesman before, basically. Business owner, sure, but a salesman. Fundamentally, that was my training. But it changed to a totally new career. And I really think that that's the concept. That will keep you alive forever, and that's going to be the same for this generation. Right?
Should all people be held accountable for who they have become, for the life they lead? Is my life my fault?
Well, I think, first and foremostly, you have to earn respect in this world, Luke. That doesn't matter whatever age you are. And I think a lot of old people lose the respect of their children or grandchildren because of their actions. And I look at a lot of people, and I see a lot of old people that are carrying maybe 20, 25 kilos more than they should. Their eyes are blank because they've not ingested new knowledge, new things, etc., etc. So I think a lot of old people are at fault, to be quite honest, I have a friend in Canada. He's 90. He teaches art history once a week, right? 90! Come on. Let's get on with it. Your life is your responsibility. what I see here is I see a lot of grandparents that have to look after their grandchildren. And they're miserable. I was in a 7-Eleven one morning, and this old guy was in there, and he had 3 grandchildren. They're just wild at 6:30 in the morning, and nobody's making them sit down or some order. You got to take control of children. Look, you have children. Come on, got to be a sense of, propriety here. And the old man is just distressed. As I would be distressed if I couldn't control these children, but I know how to control children. Come on. It's just all about training. So I think my life is my fault, and if I'm a boring old man, that's what I deserve to be. Don't you agree? It's true. It's true. I've got no respect for these kinds of people. It's their fault. It's not my fault. I know lots of old people that are extremely interesting. Socrates. I like him, because he was a gadfly, as they call. He always pushed the buttons. But you talk to him about retirement, what is that? So that's, I think, what we have to get back to, is that the older people should, like my grandfather, your grandfather, look, they contain wonderful wisdom, and it was a matter of just sitting down and speaking to him. I mean, he's the first person to talk to me about India, in Ceylon, and they had a camphorwood chest and the smell in their home, and so exotic and so magnificent. And he painted a picture of such a huge world and an enormous life. I was 14, 15 years old. I never forgot this. And I think all of us deserve this enormous life. Because you have one life, whatever your religious affiliation. You have one life in this life. Gosh, make the best of it. God,
Why do we deserve this life, and what should we demand from it?
Well, I think, of course, there are limitations on diversity. We can't have people that hate women, for instance. They got the culture that hates women. But I think diversity of people gives us perspective. And we're able to see different values, different ideas, different thoughts. If we're all just going in one direction, that's I think in a way it's a dangerous thing, because you always need so-called sober second thought. You need that voice that says, are you sure? Are you sure this is correct? And then you need to reflect and, yes, I am sure. I am sure, But you have reflected, right? This morning, look, I was coming here and if I could share a story, go downstairs, get the car, it's on the 5th level, and the car has been moved. They have a sliding parking system, right? And so the car's been moved, and I'm that's wonderful. The passenger door is exposed, so I can put my case in the car, and I just set my painting down, as such, and get in the car, and I'm off, and I'm looking, and I'm going to be on time, and I'm racing up, and I go, there's something missing. What's missing? I look over. The painting. Forgot to put the painting in the car. And I thought, oh my gosh, have I run over the painting? All those thoughts go through your mind, so come all the way back down. There's the painting neatly propped up against, the side of one of the metal supports for the parking, and it's safe, But I remarked it only took me 3 minutes, because I can see the clock in the car. It only took me 3 minutes to return and check the painting. Yeah, but then I did the whole thing. It's interesting how the mind works. I said, well, if the painting has been crushed, it's okay, because we do have images of the painting and maybe it can be repaired. And I did that whole thing, but the painting was fine. Right? So.
Why are forests like society? Why are forests magical?
Industrial logging was one of the major industries of my small community, my town, when I grew up. So, and my father was employed in the industry, manager in the industry. And so during the summertime, when I went to university, he got me a job in, as it's called, setting chokers, which is the lowest job in this whole industry, but extremely well paid, look. It was remarkable, the kind of money you made, but dirty and hard work. And I was fortunate. I'm not very big, but I'm strong. I was able to do the work, etc., etc. But what I used to remark on is it knocked all the tall trees down, and there were the baby trees there, and they would just pull these logs through the baby trees, and they'd kill all the baby trees. So when they finished logging, there was just a denuded mountainside. And then they used to burn as well. They'd burn the slash. That was the big thing. Burn the slash away so there wouldn't be some fire. And they believed it put nutrients back into the soil, which of course is totally incorrect. But regardless, that was the industrial logging. So you see these mountainsides that would be blackened, and the smoke in the region growing up would be blackened in the summertime, right? So you see how the killing of the trees, the large trees, actually killed the young trees, right? And I realized that is a society. You got the baby trees coming up, and they're sheltered by the older trees. And trees, if you walk in a forest, Luke, of course, are magical, because they're tall enough that they sway in the wind. So it's almost like you get a symphony in a curious sort of way of, because they make a sound, a whooshing sound in the baby trees, and the winds blow, and that's the analogy, right? And it's true. The trees are magical. They are magical. And that's why I think the Japanese, when they logged in Taiwan, traditionally they would go and find a tree, a camphor wood tree and a camphor tree, and they would take one tree out. And today they're doing the same thing where I grew up with helicopter logging, curiously. They're no longer building these destructive roads. They're actually small patch of trees in the forest, and they go and they cut those trees down, they remove them by Sikorsky helicopters. Really remarkable to see if you watch a video. It's just amazing how these men are, these enormous helicopters, and they pick up these logs and deposit them. So, it is improving. There is no question. But it's like anything that accesses nature. The big one that you would identify with, I'm sure, because you're a vegetarian, is industrial meat. That's a terrifying process, look. Even chicken, I eat chicken, and I'm still troubled, in a certain sense of the word. The 400,000 chickens that drowned in the last typhoon. I asked myself, how? 10 chickens, 20 chickens, 400,000 chickens? It means the poor creatures were in these horrible cages, and they didn't release them or couldn't release them, and the water level came up, and, that's a lot of life to kill, eh? Plus 4,000 pigs. Yeah. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. I don't even, this morning or yesterday, well, our office is very clean. I don't know where they come from, but there was an enormous cockroach looking around, and poor thing was hungry. So I had a little tiny bit of cereal left, and I put it on the floor, and the cockroach went over and ate my cereal, Luke. It was remarkable, and people think it sounds, I don't really share it. I share it with my students, but it's remarkable. I think these cockroaches are not so stupid, right? And there must be a purpose for them in nature, because they're here, right? So, and they're very sentient, because they know you're not going to kill them, so they actually will stand beside you. It's amazing. They know I'm not going to kill them. They can sense it, unless I'm totally mad, which you don't know.